Hi, I would like to talk about the rationale that goes behind the farming of protocols for my teams. So protocols are a bit like, think about it like artifacts but for love and deep space. Yes, this may be an otome game, but there's actually a combat aspect in this game that's not talked much about. I think because most girlies who play this game don't really focus much on the combat aspect of the game, which is understandable. The combat can get very difficult once you hit past level 100 of the open trials and the directional trials. The senior 100 combat can get very difficult as well. So the current season is okay. Like for example, the previous season there was one chamber that really gave me a lot of headache. I swear to God, I reset it so much harder than when I was speedrunning in Genshin Impact, so this is kind of crazy if you think about it. Anyway, without further ado, we will talk about the protocores. So this is the amount of protocols that I have. Disclaimer, I'm an endgame player as well as a whale, so how I farm my protocols will be very different from someone who is F2P. There are some stats that I absolutely focus on and place a lot of emphasis on, and other stats that I don't focus on that much because I tend not to cheese my content. So since we are talking about cheesing, what do I mean by that? So you have few weapons you can choose from, or you can go with what they give you by default when you have certain cards. The top tier weapon for cheesing is the Hunter Claymore due to its high scaling and stacking effect. If you have skill issue, I don't recommend it at all. So there are two types of cards in the game. You have the solar cards and the lunar cards. The solar cards would always have a diamond and a square protocol, and the diamond is always a fixed main stat. Like regardless of what you farm, it's always going to be a HP main stat. Again, for Caleb's, as you can see, solar card, always a diamond, always a square. So this is something you have to remember. Now, if you look at the lunar cards, you always have a spike protocol and then a triangle protocol. It's always the same again. And the main stat for the spike protocol is always an attack main stat. Like regardless of what you farm, you're always going to get attack main stat. It's the triangle that has the variable now. There are 5 playable male interests as of now. There's going to be 6. So this is standard Sylus, and this is his limited myth card, which is Dragon Sylus, who scales off HP. He does scales off a bit of attack, but that's just a bit. Unlike standard Sylus, who scales off attack only, amongst other stats like crit and damage bonus and stuff like that. So obviously when I farm for the both teams, even though they are all Sylus teams, I do think of, okay, like, is this card gonna go with Dragon Sylus, or is this card gonna go with standard Sylus? I try to make it as flexible as possible because farming for protocols and leveling them up is material intensive. It takes up a lot of your stamina. The RNG is not as bad as Genshin and HSR, but I think this is the way they get you to come back and log in every day, like most gacha games, obviously. I also try to be a bit conscious about the kind of substats that I get for Sylus, because the lunar cards are the one that are changing all the time according to the color. Okay, let me give you an example of how the color system works. As you can see, all the cards that I have matches the color that is asked for in this particular stage, so particular dungeon. So when the color matches, you actually break the shield of the enemies very quickly, as opposed to when it does not match. That's why when it does not match, you are literally brute forcing the content, which is what I do all the time. So I'm gonna show you the teams I use for my Senior Hunter contest. As you can see, only 2 teams, which is Team A and C, matches the colors that are required, and then Team B, I'm literally just brute forcing because it's blue and green that I've used, but they want green and yellow to break the shield. I actually find myself brute forcing a lot of content in this game because there are some cards I simply never level up, especially the 3-star ones. 4-star, sometimes I do it for affinity farming, but I try to avoid it as well because the stat difference between that and a 5-star card is day and night, and you don't want to waste your resources on things you don't use down the road. If you think about it, the amount of time you spend leveling them up, you're never going to focus on the love interest that you care about. You spread yourself so thin, you will find it really hard to progress in the directional trials, which are far easier than the open orbit trials. So apart from Sylus, I also focus a bit on Raphael and a bit on Caleb. So Caleb scales off defense, right? So I just focus mostly on defense main stat and defense substats, create some damage weakness bonus. Like I always ensure that I have around 70 to 80 damage weakness bonus. So the weaker your account is, the more you have to focus on damage weakness bonus. The stronger your account is and the more you brute force, I would favor Sacred. So I hope this helps. Thank you so much.
挑战总是让人兴奋。
该你出手，开枪！
是时候给他们上阵了。
量大管饱，看我的，前撤！
他跑不了。小精灵，知道。
开枪！
是时候给他们上阵了。
量大管饱，放过。
一网打尽。过好应付，做好准备。
开枪！
是时候给他们上阵了。
量大管饱，从哪儿就回哪儿去吧。
你离得很近了，看是你的位置。留神，海进攻了。
开枪！
是时候给他们上阵了。到礼拜的时候了。差只剩半个月。
剩下
来场能量风暴吧。
扫平一切。